Well, hello there. I see you found my library. Tonight's story opens with a burned sky, orange peeking through cracks of thick grey clouds that seep hard caustic rain, and a girl caught running through the thick of it all. Is it too late? The girl's thoughts raced, watching the flickering scenery rush past as she darted down the old dirt road. The sky clouded, and the stars winked away. Pitter-pat, rat-a-tat, pitter-pat, rat-a-tat. New shoes tattered and scuffed with mud that dripped and caked her skin. It's too late, too late. Heart caught in her chest. Trip, stumble, splash. Scrape knees against the grime and gravel, resting in the warm, comforting mud. Frozen, waiting for the shouts of men's voices, for the sound of their tracks diving into the muck, distant now, but soon. Shut your eyes tight. The girl choked back her panic. Wish it all away. Pretend you're not here. Pretend you're somewhere else. Pretend that your family is... A whisper cuts through her frantic cries. You. Faint, but growing stronger. What do you think you're doing? The girl paused, unsure if it was her own voice or its own. Wishing and pretending. The voice sneered. Doesn't get you anywhere, you know. I know, she answered back. Are you waiting for them? Do you want them to find you here, pathetic, weak, covered in that awful smell? No, the girl shouted, eyes flung open while she burst forward. Through sheets of rain she saw a silhouette, shadowed against the waterfall of night and grey. Then run, lifting her feet, the girl darted blindly forward into the night, still wishing, still pretending. The girl's feet pounded against the ground. Keep running, the voice hissed. Her brand new friend. Don't stop. Thoughts jumbled against the cold burn in her chest and the adrenaline in her lungs, rapidly trying to process the faces that she'd left behind, blurred, soft, collapsed. The voices' laughter melted with the rain as her body jerked to a halt. What are you doing? The voice asked her. The girl's eyes fell downward, a sheer drop off the edge of a cliff, where the road so conveniently stopped. I said, the voice continued, as she looked back, panic tracing her features. Don't stop. The girl looked toward the fall, the wind bursting at her back, carrying her, urging her forward towards the end. Poor thing, the voice murmured low while the rain clattered. To be so young. The earth shook beneath her feet. Something shrieked high all around her, a catastrophic wail that vibrated through the marrow in her bones and the atoms in her dust, rattling, ringing, yet still she could hear the voice, soothing beneath the noise. As the world fills with ash, it dizzied her feet, tripping her over, beyond, and into the empty and entropy. The girl's body tossed and twisted, a ragdoll brought magically to life by the wind. Water, already disturbed by the rain, shattered beneath her back. Under the surface, and in the silence, she watched the nighttime clouds ripple through the shaking pane. The stars returned, blurred, and...
What is it?
came the rasping hush of an unfamiliar voice. A human, you moron, isn't it obvious? Came the stilted snark of another.
Really? I thought maybe it wasn't it.
The voices tittered, cackling with a sound that reminded of things that scuttled and hushed at night.
I've never seen one up close before,
Raspy mused. Are you stupid? Snarky snarked. There was a pause. Raspy sighed.
I suppose I've forgotten a few things.
Yeah, I suppose you have, Snarky snipped.
Why is it, do you think, that we can't go back?
I don't know. Raspy shuffled a bit.
And maybe it has to do with the boatman.
We should find the boatman, Snarky flatlined.
Yes,
Raspy's painful optimism echoed.
Oh, yes, brilliant. If anyone can get us back, it would be,
I think his name was Tom.
Yes, our good friend Tim should be able to...
Blood began to beat through the girl once more. The raspy sound panicked.
What do we do?
We shut up is what we do.
Well, shh.
Her eyes flew open as the hiss reached her ears, darting, waiting to take in the sight of whatever. Nothing. There was nothing.
Hello?
She called, cautious, taking in her surroundings, grey and silent. The girl's gaze wandered over what was before her, a blank room with blank walls, and she sat on a bed? Not quite. The bed seemed to be a piece of shade that was a little higher than the rest of the flat colour around it. There were a few windows inside what could only be described as a room, but wasn't. She pushed herself up and began to wander, muttering. I could have sworn I heard voices moving through an outline of white onto a path, blurry and empty, like watercolor. As she made her way through the quiet world, the girl saw tumbling buildings, remnants of cities, crushed into a vague concept of what might have been. They traced, with smatterings of white and glass, and beneath awnings, eaves, and casting shadows, there crawled a creeping black. The city was silent, save a drip, drop, drip, drip, patter, drop. The only sound, drop. A gentle, unknown splash that rang throughout the echo world. Something shuddered past, just out of the corner of the girl's eyes. She whirled and cried, "Hello!" desperate for something to respond. Once more, nothing answered, but not without voice.
Hello?
It rasped. What are you doing? Another voice snipped, while the raspy one introduced itself. Hi, I'm Tim. No, you are not, Raspy huffed, clearly exasperated. Tim protested.
Well, it seems nice, and I don't remember my name.
It is not nice, Raspy was quick to admonish. Now, shut up.
Excuse me,
her own voice cried, ringing and lonely.
But I'll have you know, I'm not an it.
The voices quieted. Only the soft, fleeting sound of a whooshing run remained. One familiar, raspy cackle stayed behind.
Oh, really?
The nothing egged.
If you're not an it, then what are you?
I'm human, the girl protested with a stamp of her foot.
Laughable.
The nothing tittered.
People are its simply because they have names doesn't make them any less an it. If I'm an it,
she felt her face heat with frustration.
Then what are you?
Laughter slowly crawled up the vanished walls, causing faint shadows to grow as it answered.
Nothing, 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 nothing.
Silence fell. The nothings faded, their presence no longer skittering and chuckling in her ears. Time passed, or it didn't. In the stillness, she stared, unsure of where or when to go. Down a crooked road that marked a path through the vague and broken city that she was very certain had not been there before. Whispers crawled across the path, and it had been so long since the girl had heard a voice that she followed the sound. Tap, tap, like the ring of thin fingers against a thin pane of glass, accompanied the whispers. Tappity tap, rat-tat, rat-a-tat-tat, an impatient noise that scratched until she took a step towards it and found herself suddenly flung across the twisted way by unseen strings to where a towering creature waited for her. It was similar to a man, but it wasn't. It was much too tall, its arms much too long, and its eyes glittered bright and white. A quiet hum reverberated against the air around him, though the man stood rock still as a statue.
Hello?
The girl tilted, a bit more curious than frightened, exhausted from her loneliness. Unease tugged quietly in the back of her mind. The hypnotic tapping stopped. The man looked down at her. The girl took a step back. His face, suddenly empty and smooth, like stone made flesh. The blankness rippled, flesh made water. She gasped, her fog broken, as a grinning mouth rolled into place. "It's not nice to stare," the man rasped, while two large eyes rippled to the surface of the skin pool. They bugged and opened wide, washed of color. He slid suddenly towards her, and she caved, sprinting from him. His rattled voice tutted as he reached one long, stretching arm to catch her around the scruff of her neck. "There's no running from the scaries, little light." Arm bent, holding her eye level with his too large gaze. "We always catch up." She shuddered in his grasp, while he rattled, satisfied. "Finally, I've caught you."
Please, will you help me?
She squeaked before his mouth sank beneath his skin, only to be replaced by a new smile, wide and thin. "Old monsters do not help little lights." Familiarity scraped across the girl's spine when his grin came into focus. "All lights are treasures, and all treasures belong to him." The girl opened her mouth to speak, but her voice cut sharply as she felt the long arm whip her form helplessly through the air, shattering her body into the horizon.